Welcome back to the Only Playbook, folks. We apologize for a little bit of a hiatus. We did record last week, and then the systems wanted to just system, and technology was not our friend. And looks like that episode's forever going to be vaulted, only for you, me, and Shoshotais. So very unfortunate, but we're back 2 days away from the big day. Draft day is upon us, Shovit, and we want to have this episode be our final mock draft. Not only that, but we're going to play a little game, me and Shovit. We're going to pick every other pick, and we are going to see how many we can nail on the dot based on the actual draft that takes place on Thursday. So it's going to be fun. Shovit, 2 days away, man. This is what we've been talking about for months and months and months. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling so excited, man. Oh my God, there's going to be so many trades and so much fun stuff. And I'm actually excited to hear Bill Belichick do his live stream. He's been doing some weird picks during the draft. So I kind of want to get his thought process and see what he has to say for all of these players. But the whole draft is going to be amazing. Steelers, please, let's get a good left tackle or center.
Yeah, absolutely. So many people are going to be live during the draft. I think that's kind of the new thing, and we are as well. So it's going to be fun to talk through the draft, see where we're correct, see where we're wrong, and obviously react. I think reacting with the picks is what's going to make it the most fun. But again, this game, Shovit, you have the first pick, you have the odds, I have the evens, so the listeners understand how the scoring works. 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point per pick. 3 points if you nail the player, the pick, and the position, right? What was it? Was it 3 points if you nail the correct player, the spot, and the team? 2 points if you nail the correct player and the spot, or the correct player and the team. And then 1 point if you just nail the correct position, but wrong player. So like, let's say you say, Bills are taking a wide receiver and you say Keon Coleman and they take A.D. Mitchell, you still get 1 point for that because you got the correct position.
I like it. Needs.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Let's do this.
Do you have any questions before I beat you? And
dream on, man. My first pick is gonna be such a gimme. Like I already got 3 points on that.
That's
Put it on
bullshit, man. You basically got the middle. You got the middle spot in bingo. Let's be real.
We did heads and tails. It was 50% chance. You got it wrong. I gave you an option, and I'm going first now.
All right, bro. You are on the clock with the first overall pick. Talk to me.
With the first overall pick, the Bears just got rid of Justin Fields. They're looking for their future quarterback, franchise QB, and this is a no-brainer. It's been known for quite some time now, and Caleb Williams is who the Bears are going to draft.
Absolutely. I think that is the most obvious pick in the entire draft. Everybody says the draft really starts at the number 2 spot. So the pressure is on me to get the first real pick correct. With the Commanders on the clock at number 2, quarterback is where I'm thinking. There's been so much smoke and mirrors about Jaden Daniels. The fact that the Commanders brought in every single person in their visit and did not bring Jaden Daniels in individually seems like it rubbed him the wrong way. Obviously, if Caleb's the number 1 player and Jaden was their guy, they wouldn't really have to hide that either. So the fact that they brought in everybody all together, they didn't have any individualized workouts with Jaden. It's really confusing, but it is a new regime. I'm just going to assume that they know what they're doing. They're going to take the quarterback of the future. A lot of people think it's Drake May. I do think these two quarterbacks offer 2 different levels of style and upside and what they can bring to the table. I personally would side with May because I just think how he plays can fit into the NFL more than what Jaden Daniels can do. And Jaden Daniels could get hurt because he runs so much. But in this situation, I'm going to take Jaden Daniels with the number 2 pick. The Commanders are going to take the LSU quarterback and the Heisman winner to build that team from the ground up.
This is all live, so you just ruined my mock draft, and I was going to pick Jaden Daniels, but obviously he is taken at number 2. And for me, for the Patriots, yes, Marvin Harrison is there. He's the number 1 receiver in some eyes, but I think that they are still going to go the quarterback route. And if it wasn't going to be Jaden Daniels, I think the number 2 option for them is going to be Drake May. Jacoby Brissett is their quarterback right now. They definitely need quarterback help, and I think Drake May is the guy that they will go with. So let's pick Drake May for the Patriots.
I like it. They don't have a roster, but they're going to throw this quarterback in there and see what he does.
Yep.
Will it be Mac Jones 2.0? We shall see.
We shall see.
That
Hopefully.
puts the Cardinals on the clock with the number 4 pick. Easiest pick to me outside of the number 1 spot. If it does go chalk like this, they take the best player on the board, Marvin Harrison Jr., in a lot of drafts. Not just the best receiver, but the number 1 player in a lot of people's top, 100, 200, whatever big board. So, franchise changing wide receiver, alpha. He's going to, be their guy. Him and Kyler should be able to feast.
Yeah, solid. There's some talks about Cardinals potentially wanting to trade down, and they are open, but to trades, and we'll see if that actually happens or not. But in this mock draft, we're gonna do our first trade. We did this trade last time as well, and I think that the Chargers, as I personally think they should get Malik Neighbors, but I think what they'll do instead is try to get 2 picks, and they will trade with the Vikings for the 11 and 23rd pick. The specifics of this trade may be more, maybe less. I don't know, but for sure it should be the 11 and 23 for the 5. So let's go ahead and get this trade rolling. So
it says PFF says there's a 38% chance that this gets completed. So do you think we need to offer? It's making it seem like the Vikings need to offer more. Otherwise, this is not going to go through.
Well, I want you to force this trade, but I don't know the ways that this will actually play out. Since we're doing the first round, I think that we can just go ahead and just do these 2 because this is the minimum, right? This is the bare minimum that you need. It may be the next year's first round pick too, but I'm not sure there.
All right, you got the Minnesota Vikings on the clock with the 5th pick. Where are they going?
Minnesota Vikings seem to have found their future in a proven winner, a young quarterback that can fit right well in the system. I think JJ McCarthy is who they are looking to draft. They draft JJ McCarthy and hope they find the best in him.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about this quite a bit. As a Vikings fan, there is not, to me, maybe outside the Bears, but even the Bears, there's not a better situation that you could put a young quarterback in, right? So that's why I'm not as worried about the guy that we pick versus, the situation that he's going to be in. So I'm okay taking any of the top 4. I think where things will get a little sweaty is if all 4 of these guys are gone and somehow the Vikings still haven't picked their quarterback. And at that point, you're going to have to, have your fallback plan of Michael Penix, Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler. I don't know. So if that's what plays out, then you'll see sweat start to drip down my forehead during the mock draft or during the actual draft on Thursday.
If they don't trade and the Chargers pick, they may pick Malik Neighbors, which would be the smartest move. And I think the Giants might scoop JJ McCarthy, honestly. I think, they have Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, but he hasn't proven anything. I think it's his 5th year, if I'm not mistaken, or he's a contract year. So they need to find a future, and 1 year for JJ McCarthy to be on the bench. And then pick up the throne once Daniel Jones is gone. I think that might be a smart move as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I think if they do that, they're basically tanking this year because their roster is so bad.
Yeah.
Your top 5 pick or top 6 pick, you're not giving Daniel Jones, or the offense or defense, anybody to work with. You're basically picking a guy who's going to sit on the bench for a whole year. So you're assuming that this is a lost season. So I don't know. I lean more so. I'm still of the opinion that if there's a quarterback on the board at 6, they're not going to take the quarterback. I think they're going to go BPA. They're going to go wide receiver probably. And I think this, quarterback to the Giants is more of a smokescreen because they're a little bit of a pivot spot at 6. But that's not to say it can't happen, right? That's not to say it can't happen.
Or it's not to say that the Broncos don't trade up with the Giants or the Raiders don't trade up with the Giants and try to get JJ McCarthy either. So we talked about this reactive or proactive. I think that being proactive just because of that fear that other teams might move up is maybe wise.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes the number 6 pick for the Giants really easy for me. My favorite receiver in the draft. Malik Neighbors is a home run pick here. I mean, it's basically them getting OBJ again, except he's bigger, faster, stronger. So should be a better OBJ. And he should make life for Danny Dimes a lot easier.
Yeah. And moving forward with the 7th pick for the Titans that are now on the clock, that also makes my pick really easy. Joe Alt, offensive lineman, gets to go to the best offensive lineman coach in NFL, Bill Callahan. So I think that's a match made in heaven. Joe Alt goes to the Titans.
Yeah, that's one I've seen mocked the most. I
Yeah.
think Joe Alt to go to the Titans, those specific odds I think are like minus 400 or
Oh
something
wow.
ridiculous. And you rarely see that at like the seventh pick in a
Yeah.
specific player because so many variables, right? Players could get traded, stuff like that. So yeah, this seems like a match made in heaven. Their offensive line is trash. And they have basically everything else. You have Will Levis, you have all the skill positions, you signed Calvin Ridley, you have Tajay Spears, you brought in Tony Pollard. So now you need protection. Otherwise, none of those players are going to do anything.
Facts.
Number 8, the Falcons. This is another tough spot for me, Shovit. I think they go defense here. I've seen a lot of mocks give them Dallas Turner, edge out of Alabama. The problem with that is I don't think he's the best edge in the class. I think Leatu Latu is the best edge in the class, but Leatu Latu comes with some medical history, and I don't know if teams are going to shy away from that. I am going to trust that the teams have understood that he's cleared medically. That's why he played for UCLA the last 2 seasons. That's why he's declaring. That's why, everything points to whatever he's going to give you, however long he's going to give it to you. He's going to be the best, in my opinion, in this class. So I am going to take a leap of faith that they don't try to draft based on traits and go Dallas Turner, but rather they go the best edge with the most array of weapons and moves, Leatu Latu out of UCLA.
I like that. Solid pick. Definitely need an edge rusher there as well. All right, so Chicago Bears are back on the clock, and here Bears have a lot of options here for them. They just got their franchise quarterback. But I think they also now get a wide receiver, Rome Odunze. And I was kind of going back and forth on this. Do they need a wide receiver, right? DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. But having a 3-head monster, you're setting Caleb Williams up for success. That Bears team is going to be that much better now as long as Caleb Williams pans out. And Rome Odunze could be a number 1 receiver in any other draft, overshadowed by Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison. I think that's going to be a solid pick. Pick the best available player right now, and that is Rome Odunze.
Yeah, they've already got some inside jokes. They were on the same flight.
Oh, yeah.
They interviewed Rome during the combine saying if he could land a plane, and he said no. And Caleb Williams is already making jokes about that with Rome. So if they both land in Chicago with pick 1 and 9, I'm scared as a Vikings fan. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'd be too.
All right, Jets on the clock. Number 10, Aaron Rodgers is back. Hopefully he can play a full season or a full game. Let's see it first. They need help on the offensive line. I do think they could go with a skill position player as well, simply because it's just Garrett Wilson right now, and they could really, really use a wide receiver too. Because the top 3 wide receivers are off the board, I don't think we want to reach for the 4th wide receiver here. I think I'm going to go with a tackle. I'm between Talisi Fuanga and Troy Fontenot, and I'm going to go with Fuanga out of Oregon State. I just think he offers the versatility. They really need somebody to be in there because their tackles are going to get hurt. They've been injury prone. Morgan Moses is not good. So I think this is going to help build for the future. And not only that, it's going to put somebody on that offensive line that can play now and protect Rodgers. And he offers the versatility that if they want to, slide him into guard, or they want to move somebody else into guard and have him fit into the tackle spot, he can. So Talisi Fuaga from Oregon State, you are a New York Jet.
Nice. All right, that leads me to pick 11, Jim Harbaugh's first pick of this NFL draft with this new team. And I think that his focus on the first pick is going to be the offensive line, establish the trenches. I think he's going to be big on, just getting the best player available. And a lot of what I've been seeing is Troy Fautanu. I think he's the guy. I've also considered J.C. Latham as well, but I'm going to go with the best available, and Troy Fautanu, I think, is the guy that they go pick.
Yeah, I like that. Again, there's going to be quite a big run, in my opinion, on tackles here in the first round. I think maybe there's a chance 5 to 7 go. So as, again, a Steelers fan, I think you need to really, really be proactive here. If you see a run on tackles, maybe trade up. But we'll see how this plays out. That puts the Denver Broncos on the clock at 12 for me. They need a quarterback. Let's be real. You can't really take Bo Nix or Michael Penix here, in my opinion. They could certainly trade back, but they just really need bodies. And I think, you can't go wrong with the cornerback here. You could get a skilled position. You could get an edge rusher. Right now, the best player on the board to me is Cooper DeJean, but I think, Denver's the type of team that likes to build in the trenches. And I see them going defensive line. And I'm actually going to take Dallas Turner from Alabama going to the Broncos with the number 12 spot.
I didn't see that coming. I thought it was going to be Brock Bowers for For sure. Okay, that makes it a little bit more interesting now. All right. So for the Raiders are on the clock, and I think the Raiders certainly need a quarterback, but they're not going to go quarterback in the first round. I don't think. I think they're going to go either cornerback or offensive tackle. And if I am looking at cornerback options, I see Terrion Arnold, Quinton Mitchell, and right now Quinton Mitchell I think has the most buzz as far as the best cornerback available. Some may say it's Terrion Arnold, but I mean 4 picks in one game. The guy can play really good man coverage. Had a really good Senior Bowl outing as well. So I think Quinton Mitchell is who they go out and get this year.
Yeah, I think that the talks of him playing at Toledo, not facing real competition, was put to rest when at the Senior Bowl he was sticky as hell on every receiver he covered. So I really, really like that spot here with the Raiders. Great CB1 to build that defense around. That puts the Saints back on the clock. To me, the Saints also a no-brainer. They need offensive line help. I'm going to give them Olu Fashanu from Penn State. Whatever tackle was on the board there, to me, in my opinion, was going to go to them. Olu Fashanu is there on the board. I think it's Fashanu or Fashanu. Again, these names get harder and harder. I apologize for butchering them, but I mean, look at the name. It's hard to pronounce. I would know. My name is hard to pronounce. So I can relate, Olu. I'm just going to call you Olu. Olu goes to the Saints at 14.
Yeah, come join our podcast and tell us how it is and put it all to rest. That'd be great. Like you said, there's a run on tackles. I think there's also going to be a run on cornerbacks. There's a lot to go out and get. And Colts also need cornerback help as well. So the guy I think that they will get is going to be Cooper DeJean here. I think that they will. Yeah, he's aggressive. He plays rough, also has good hands, and I think Cooper DeJean will be a good fit for the Colts. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Cooper DeJean here.
Yeah, he's a Swiss Army knife. He can cover man to man, zone. He can play down in the box. He can basically be a safety. He can play nickel. He really can do it all. White cornerback in the NFL. Finally going to change that
narrative.
Change that narrative. Exactly. Yeah. Cooper DeJean. I personally think Terrion Arnold is a better fit for the Colts, but that's why you're making the picks, man. So Cooper DeJean to the Colts. I would have also actually liked Brock Bowers to the Colts. Another weapon for them. That would be pretty. That would be pretty awesome as well. But that puts me on the clock with the Seahawks at the 16th spot. For me, the Seahawks also another team that personally I'm looking at offensive line. This is a spot where I wouldn't be shocked if the first interior offensive line goes. But I don't know that Jackson Powers Johnson is somebody that I would warrant doing that. But a guy that I do think can move right into guard that would be really phenomenal is Graham Barton, tackle out of Duke. Ooh. I think he's going to be somebody that can play the guard spot and play it really well. And I think the Seahawks are going to recognize that. I would take him over any, guys that are actually positioned as guard on the big board right now. So give me Graham Barton to Seattle.
Nice. I'm looking at Brock Bowers, by the way, and I feel like this is fantasy draft where like the guy is dropping and you're like, oh God, we got to get him. But it's just, I haven't found that fit yet. And I think for a Jaguars,
the fit's coming.
Oh, the Bengals. No. Oh no. Oh, fudge. All right. Let's just get this pick out of the way then. The Jaguars are also going to target a cornerback, in my opinion. The best cornerback available right now is Terrion Arnold. No slack, even though he's a third cornerback getting picked. Great man coverage. Played in the SEC. So solid pick for the Jaguars here.
I like it. They need that secondary help. Yep. That takes us to the Bengals at 18. And my goodness, what a match made in heaven. Bengals need a tight end. And how in the world does Brock Bowers quite possibly fall into their lap at 18? What sucks is the Bengals have a massive need on the interior of the defensive line. And both of these mammoth of men are on the board. But I just can't stop myself from taking Brock Bowers. I know this is a game where I want to win. And I think in the real world, this is going to be a defensive line player because I think Brock Bowers will already be gone here. But it's impossible for me to see a world where Brock Bowers isn't taken if he's there at 18 for the Bengals. So, man, that offense is going to be absolutely electric. Brock Bowers and Joe Burrow, quite the connection, man.
Man, I hope the Broncos pick him up before, or the Colts, anyone else, anywhere else besides the Bengals. All right, the Rams are on the clock, and Rams need some defensive line help. They lose Aaron Darnold, an edge rusher. I think actually would be really nice for them to have. There's on Newton, but the guy who I like the most out of that list, I just love Jared Verse. I think he is a beast. He uses his hands to kind of maneuver over away from the offensive line really well, and just a polished edge rusher. And I think that he'll be a great fit for the Rams.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I think if not Verse, the way I think we're doing this is the the edges are going to go to the teams we've picked. I just don't know which edge is going to go where. I'm still very skeptical that Layout Tulach is going to be the first edge off the board. I don't think he is because they're going to be afraid of the medicals, but I really, really feel the deepest of deep that he is better than Jared Verse and he's better than Dallas Turner. So
yeah, I had Latu go into the Rams, but since he's already picked, I'm picking the next best edge available and Jared Verse, who's also good. So
he's also definitely no slouch. Carried that defense for sure. That puts your Steelers on the clock for me at number 20. Do I want to sabotage here? No, because I want to win. I want to win, and I'm trying to win. It's kind of falling into their lap, Shovit. We mocked this guy there quite a bit. He's an absolute monster. Amarius Mims to play tackle for the Steelers. I don't think there is a better fit personally. So Amarius Mims, you are a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Dude, we need that right tackle help. And so, yes, Amarius Mims is going to be perfect for them. All right. So Dolphins here. Oh man, the guy's right there who I wanted to pick.
Match made in heaven for the Dolphins, right?
Dude. Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle help. Certainly need it. Need that help. They also actually have defensive end help, but I think that they will get the best guy available in defense interior. Jerzon Newton, beast. Enough said about him. He's beast.
Yeah, they lose Christian Wilkins, right? So it's just an easy one-for-one replacement with Johnny Newton, who is a mammoth of a man. Different type of play style to Byron Murphy. Murphy can also be kind of a pass rusher as well, so he can do it all. But Johnny Newton, man, if you want somebody to plug in the interior, that is your man. That puts the Eagles on the clock here with the 22nd overall pick. I'm in an interesting predicament here. The Eagles are tricky. I really, really think the Eagles need cornerbacks because Darius Slay and Bradbury are getting old. And quite frankly, they're just not that good anymore. They're more so name based versus kind of production based or what their play on the field is warranting. But I worry about Nate Wiggins, man. I worry about his size. What is he, like 6? He's like 180 or something. Yeah, 6'2", 185. He's a very, very thin cornerback. 6'2", you love the size. You love his speed. He's got all the tools, but he was hurt running the 40-yard dash at the combine. So, like, I just don't know if he's going to be physical enough as a cornerback to stay healthy. That's why I'm a little bit hesitant with Nate Wiggins. Kool-Aid McKinstry is a great cornerback. He was supposed to be one of the top corners off the board. Fell off a little bit this year because he was playing opposite Terrion Arnold, but they're both no slouches. Mm-hmm. The other thing, wild card here, is wide receiver. If they want to fully just unleash that offense and you're really looking for that number 3, it ain't Quez Watkins, it ain't Julio Jones, it ain't, all these randos that they brought in, and you want to put that number 3 receiver there, my, oh my, there's so many good options to choose from. I just think Howie is of the opinion that you typically build through the trenches. So he is a guy that loves to pick trench players. So this is more so a player that happened to fall here than that I wouldn't have expected to fall here, and knowing how the Eagles typically draft. So I'm going to have the Philadelphia Eagles continue to do what they do and just keep getting fat linemen offensively and defensively and just having a revolving door of studs. Give me Byron Murphy going to Philly.
Yeah, it's nice. They have Josh Sweat, but you can always get more interior defense guys. So solid pick. All right, the Chargers are back on the clock, and I was kind of worried because I thought you were going to pick this guy for the Eagles, but I think now the Chargers definitely need to address their wide receiver situation. So wide receiver, the best available to me right now is Adonai Mitchell. He's one of my most favorite receivers in this class. He's got great hands. Not the fastest. I actually don't remember what his 40 was. But
it's like 4.37 or something like that.
Great route runner as well. So to me, Adonai Mitchell is a no-brainer to go to the Chargers. So I think the Chargers get him in with the 23rd pick.
Yeah, he's a stud, man. To me, he's definitely the better Texas receiver, even though Xavier Worthy gets all the hype for his speed. But a nice player to come in immediately and probably be the wide receiver 1 since Quentin Johnston ain't it, Chief. That puts the Cowboys on the clock at 24. Cowboys are in a weird spot. They basically did nothing this offseason. So Jerry Jones went all in. And when he meant all in nothing. So they could basically use every position possible. Running back, which I don't think they're going to go here. I personally wouldn't hate them going receiver. Brian Thomas Jr. offers a ton of vertical ability. That would be kind of the perfect pairing with CeeDee Lamb and his underneath intermediary, all the other type stuff. But I also do feel like they could use offensive line help. Not interior offensive line. I mean, maybe interior offensive line. So you have a couple options here. I think you could go JC Latham. I think you could go Tyler Guyton. They could even go Jackson Powers Johnson and slide him into potentially, play center or move over to guard. But the problem is Jerry Jones is just such a flashy drafter. Like he loves doing that. I mean, outside of the year they took Travis Frederick, the center, in the first round, and everybody was like, what the F? He usually loves going for, the skill positions. So in this situation, I'm going to have the Dallas Cowboys take Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. Vertical threat, really going to open up that offense. Dak Prescott can really get the ball downfield. And again, it's going to open everything underneath for CeeDee Lamb.
Nice. Solid pick. All right. So next up, we have the Green Bay Packers. All right. They do need depth in offensive linemen. They need they need a number 2 for Jair Alexander as well. So cornerback help for sure. Let's see what we've got here. So you have JC Latham, Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid Minkistry, Mike Sinristil. I think that they're going to go with JC Latham. I think that trying to get more depth for that offensive lineman, I think that's going to be the most important part of this draft. And I think they address the cornerback situation later on. Hold on. Let me think of this through. I mean, they definitely need a number 2 cornerback. Nate Wiggins is a little bit of a, smaller guy, smaller stature, I believe. Like, what's Nate Wiggins' height?
6'2", 185.
Oh, 6'2". Okay.
Yeah, he's definitely has the height. You have Kool-Aid at 6'1", 195, but Wiggins is just very thin.
Let's go ahead and pick Kool-Aid Minkistry. I think that I know I said tackle earlier, but cornerback seems like much more important in terms of just not having enough personnel after Alexander. So I think that the Packers get a cornerback.
All right, Kool-Aid McKinstry, come on down. That puts the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock with the 26th overall pick. To me, for them, it has to be. I mean, I was going to say it kind of has to be defensive line, but the defensive linemen are really, really just kind of not there. I mean, Isaac, Chop Robinson's another really, really interesting player. Electric, but he's raw. He doesn't have all the tools, and I don't know how he's going to be as a rundown. So, man, Tampa Bay's in a tough spot here. Who do we have on interior offensive line? You know what? They just signed? Did the Buccaneers just sign somebody? Hold on. This is the first team where I'm just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, this is tough. I feel like Chop Robinson is probably a good target.
Yeah, they definitely could use edge rushers. They lost Carlton Davis, so they could use another cornerback. They could probably use interior offensive line. Wow. You know what? Let's do it. I'm going to give him Jackson Powers Johnson. First interior offensive lineman from Oregon comes off the board. If they want him to play center and they get rid of Hainsey, they can do that. Or if they like Hainsey and they want to put him in guard, I mean, they have Cody Mock and freaking Ben Brederson, who are both, 74th out of 79 and 75th out of 79 in terms of PFF grade. So I think you could take Jackson Powers Johnson and play him anywhere on the interior and make that offensive line a little bit better. So they signed Baker Mayfield. They obviously got to protect him. So give me JPJ to the Buccaneers.
All right. Okay. So now this is very tough because I was really hoping Jared Verse would be available, but I decided to pull the trigger on him earlier. Let's see edge. Let's see what we have available in edge. Adiza Isaac, Chop Robinson. What's the best available? Just in all JC Latham.
Yeah, they could use a wide receiver. You already went wide receiver, obviously. I don't know if they'll double up with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
They could use a defensive back. They could still use offensive line. So you have a couple options.
I feel like edge rusher is probably going to be the most important for them. So with that being the fact, I think that they are going to go. Let's go with Chop Robinson here. I think he should be a lot higher than that 40 ADP. So I think Chop Robinson is the guy that they go with. also a beast.
Yeah, he's got an insane first step, very like Von Miller-esque. It's just they don't know if that first step's going to be the only thing that can beat these linemen in the NFL,
Yeah.
right? He's going to have to develop much more of a fluid pass rushing arsenal, but that first step is so quick that, I mean, there is a world where that's all he needs to be a productive pass rusher. And my God, you would have a freak on your hands. So he's a guy that I've seen a lot of people have in very different spots. Like some people have him as a top 10 overall player in the draft, right? Some people have him top 50. So seems like a really big variance, but if you're getting the high end of that variance, especially at 27 overall, you definitely hit a home run. Bills at 28. To me, this is a no-brainer. You have no wide receivers on the board or on your team, basically. So you need a wide receiver. Troy Franklin is there. Ladd McConkey is there. Keon Coleman is there. To me, you really need the alpha number one. I am going to go with Keon Coleman here in the first round. I think he has the build to be a true number one receiver. Obviously, we've talked on end about his lack of separation, but his game speed does not match his 40-yard dash or his lack of ability to separate. He's, again, a 50-50 machine. 90-10 is what I call him. And I think Josh Allen really needs that when he throws a lot of 50-50 balls. So Keon Coleman has a chance to be really special for Buffalo, come in and be the number one receiver. So Keon Coleman, 28th overall to the Buffalo Bills.
Solid. Okay, so the Lions, to me, their biggest needs, I think, is cornerback. And I think that's who they will target. Most of their they had one of the better pass protection receivers. They could use receiver help, but they're doing fairly well on that. But I think they'll address that maybe later. I think cornerback right now, the best available is Nate Wiggins. So I think that Nate Wiggins is who they will draft here.
Yeah, a lot of people have Nate Wiggins as their CB1. So for him to fall to 29th, it should be a steal for the Lions.
Yeah.
The Ravens are on the clock with the 30th pick. The Ravens, man, they really can do a lot of things. Excuse me. I think they could go wide receiver here. You have Troy Franklin still on the board. You could go offensive lineman because they need the help there. And you could also go defensive back. Let's see what they have in offensive line. Zach Frazier, don't love it. Don't love the interior. JC Latham is still there. He's falling a little bit. And I think he's got such insane size. 6'6", Shovit, 335 pounds. And the thing is, he moves like he's 310 pounds. So he moves. He's very light on his feet. I think he's another guy that you could possibly push into guard if you wanted to. But again, when you are the Baltimore Ravens, you sit in a position where you take best player available and add to positions that are already strong, things like that. So I think for me here, they could go edge rusher. There's just not a great edge after all the edges have gone. I don't love Troy Franklin for that offense as much personally. So I'm going to actually take JC Latham for
nice. Okay. Solid. Man. All right. So now I am a little bit nervous because I have the 49ers who I have to pick. 49ers certainly need help on cornerback. Charvarius Ward, Ambry Thomas, and Lenore are all on contract years, so they're unrestricted free agents next year. I do like Mike Stenristil. Can you take his height and 5'10"? He's the smaller guy that I was thinking about. Okay, he just seems like a day 2 cornerback, so I don't know if they do that. Let's take a look at the offensive linemen. I feel like they're one of those teams that they could always have more guards just because they put so much importance on that. And to me, yeah, I'm glad you clicked him. I was just actually going to say Tyler Guyton, I think, is a solid guy for them to kind of work with. I don't think Kyle Shanahan likes putting rookie offensive line the first year. So this is a guy that they can work with and maybe next year put him in the lineup or if due to injuries and things like that. So let's go ahead and do Tyler Guyton for the 31st pick for the 49ers.
I like it. I like it a lot. That puts me on the clock with the final pick in the first round. The Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock. They need a receiver, man. They need a receiver. Yeah. We don't know the situation with Rashee Rice. There is a world where they don't draft receiver because Patrick Mahomes has proven that he can throw the ball to MVS and Sky Moore and Randos and Kadarius Toney, and they can win the Super Bowl. But I just think there's just such a lack at that position. Now, who they're going to take is the interesting part here. Who do the Chiefs take? Do they take the speedy Troy Franklin? Do they take the savant Ladd McConkey? Do they take the space eater in zone Roman Wilson? They take the guy that made that freakish one-handed catch, Ricky Pearsall. This is tough, Shovit.
Yeah.
My
one of my favorite receivers aren't even on this list right now.
I know. If you scroll down, there he is.
There he is.
Xavier Legette. That's the guy that I think they could take. They could even take Xavier Worthy because of that speed.
Yes. Yeah, they definitely could.
Oh man. So my brain.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. I want you to finish your thought.
No, I'm so torn on Xavier Worthy. I know last podcast I didn't get published. I was kind of shitting on him a little bit, but Steve Smith has him as the 4th best receiver, or he has him above Adonai Mitchell. So, and this is Steve Smith Sr. talking. So Xavier Worthy is not a terrible pick here if you believe that Steve Smith knows what he's talking about, and he typically does when it comes to receivers.
I want to give the Chiefs a receiver that can do more than just that. I want them to have Legette would be a freak with Kansas City. My goodness, would he be a freak? But my lean really ultimately is Troy Franklin because he's so smooth and polished. That's what my brain tells me, but my heart tells me Ladd McConkey deserves to be here. Ladd McConkey deserves to be a first rounder because he is so freaking good at getting open. I think he's going to be that 33rd overall pick to the Panthers. I don't know why. I really think that's where he goes. So that's why here, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it. Xavier Legette, you made it into the first round. You are a Kansas City Chief.
If you get 3 points on this, I will cry.
Oh, dude, if Xavier Legette becomes a Chief and I hit that would be phenomenal. But that's it, man. That is the first round. Quick recap to the folks at home. Caleb Williams goes 1, Jaden 2, Drake 3, pretty chalk. Marvin Harrison 4, still chalk. Vikings trade up to 5 per Shovit. Grab JJ McCarthy. Malik Neighbors at 6, chalk. Joe Alt 7, chalk. Leatu Latu, the first edge off the board of the Falcons at 8. Roma Dunze to the Bears. Get that pairing with Caleb Williams. That's scary. Talisi Fuanga going to the Jets to help Aaron Rodgers. Troy Fontenot gets to the Chargers to protect Joe Burrow. The Denver Broncos drafted Dallas Turner to help the edge. The Raiders with the 13th pick take Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo. 14th, the Saints help the offensive line, Olu Fashionow. 15th, the Colts draft the Swiss Army knife, Cooper DeSheen out of Iowa. Graham Barton to the Seahawks at 16 from Duke. 17, Terrion Arnold goes to the Jags. 18, Brock Bowers falls into the Bengals' lap. My God, that would be exciting to watch in real life. Jared Verse to the Rams at 19. Amarius Mims, your boy, tackle to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 20.
Here we go.
21, Johnny Newton fills that hole that Christian Wilkins left for the Dolphins. Byron Murphy, his fellow defensive interior predecessor, goes to the Eagles at 22. Adonai Mitchell from Texas to the Chargers at 23. Brian Thomas Jr., speedy wide receiver out of LSU, goes to the Cowboys at 24. Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Packers at 25. JPJ, first interior offensive lineman off the board to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cardinals take Chop Robinson at 27. Bills take Keon Coleman at 28. Lions take Nate Wiggins at 29. JC Latham goes to the Ravens at 30. Tyler Guyton to the San Francisco 49ers at 31. And Deebo Samuel 2.0, DK Metcalf 2.0, whatever you want to say. Xavier Legette goes to the Chiefs at 32 overall.
Man, what a pick. Awesome. Hey, fun fact, by the way, I know we were talking about 49ers getting cornerback. The 49ers haven't drafted a cornerback in the first round since 2002. So
that ain't happening.
Maybe not. Saying. That sounds like it. I mean, if history is any indication of the future, it's not happening.
Yeah. No, man, this is going to be really fun on Thursday to have side by side and see how accurate we are. All the best mock drafters in the world are, maybe like 30% accurate. So I would say even if we get, 10 out of 30 right somehow, or, 11 out of 32, something like that,
you're doing something
I would
right.
say that would be something right for sure.
Yep.
Any picks stick out to you here? For me, it really has to be Brock Bowers to the Bengals at 18. Feels like just a home run.
Oh my gosh, that's so scary. That's what the Cincinnati Bengals have been missing, right? Like they play the Kansas City Chiefs, and you have Kelsey doing all these things, and you don't really have that consistently in the past. So that would be a home run for them for sure. Yeah, man, that's definitely the one. And Xavier Legette, Kansas City Chiefs. Watch out.
Yeah, Keon Coleman to the Bills and Legette to the Chiefs. When you give Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes a receiver, it's always going to be something that you're going to be intrigued about. So that is it for the first round predictive mock draft. We are 2 days away from the actual draft. We will be live on this channel on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like, hit the subscribe. It helps spread the word for us folks to get our podcast out there. If you're listening, you can listen to us on any podcast platform, socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at The Only Playbook. I am Swikar. That is Shovit. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode. Join us live on Thursday as we are going live during the mock draft, or during the actual draft. See you guys.